Welcome to Soapbox Interview from Sat Media. I'm Matt Skeetsa, and today we're joined by Patrick Brouillette. Patrick, welcome.
Thank you.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what position you're running for in your
Sure.
district?
Absolutely. So thanks for having me. So my name is Patrick Thomas Brouillette, and I'm running for the House of Representatives for the Illinois General Assembly in the 44th District. I am a small business owner. I'm a family man. I have 3 children, and I've been a Hoffman Estates resident for the last 16 or so years. Grew up in Des Plaines, so I'm a Illinois native.
You're now attempting or going into the political field.
Yeah, and I'm brand new to politics. I mean, I've followed politics loosely for a long time, but with everything that happened in 2020, I'm not one to just complain. I'm one to take action.
Right.
And when all that happened, I'm like, wait a minute, there's got to be something that can be done. So I said, I'm going to run for office. I don't know what at that time. I'm like, I know I'm going to run for office for something. And here I am today.
When we obviously look at the state of Illinois, the issues we're having, and not even the state of Illinois, the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's something that probably triggered you to,
Yes.
and maybe that's not the right word to use, but it's close, I'm sure,
Yeah.
that pushed you into saying, you know what, there's only one way to do this, and I've got to run myself. What was that?
So I think the major issues everybody's aware of, it was the mandates for me and the lockdowns. And that was in the very beginning. And I have small children, and I saw with the schooling, our school system was already broken. I mean, the education system was already broken with the lack of curriculum. And then you brought in the virtual learning into it, and then you brought in the lockdowns. It was just cumulative. It was adding on, and then the shutdowns of the small businesses. And I'm like, this is detrimental. And then the masking. So that was the big, that was the main component of it, was the masking, the forced masking in, pretty much any business and any government building, everything, schools especially, masking our kids. And then to compound that, you added on the vaccine mandates. And it was just, the temperature was rising the entire time. And I'm like, all right, I need to get active. I need to run for office. I want to make a change. I don't want to sit back and just see this stuff get worse. I need to make a difference and make sure this stuff is reversed. And also, it never happens again, most importantly.
So you mentioned that you're a small business owner.
Yes, sir.
And then when you look at the masks and the lockdown, especially, even the masks are probably an annoyance more than anything.
Sure.
And then you have the situation where they're telling you can't even run your business.
Yeah.
How did that really affect you? Did you struggle during that time? What was it like for you?
Well, to be honest, I was on the opposite end of the spectrum because I'm not a brick and mortar small business owner.
Okay.
So I actually technically benefited from the pandemic because I was able to start my business. I was let go from my job.
Okay.
And I've been in corporate America pretty much my entire life as a sales manager, sales representative for large corporations. And I was let go in March of 2020. And my thought process at that time was I wouldn't be able to get a job at that point in time just because we didn't know what was happening. I was let go. So, all right, I've always wanted to have my own business. So I started my own LLC within about a week of getting terminated, and I just got to work. And the small businesses that have brick and mortar locations, obviously, they were forced to make people wear masks for the most part. And I feel that probably hurt their business in addition to the shutdowns.
Sure.
I complied for probably the 2 weeks to slow the curve or whatever. And I complied for those 2 weeks, and I was done after that. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore because it's not something that is advantageous, and it's hurting these small business owners, even though I technically, benefited from the pandemics, in terms of when it started, because I was terminated. I turned it into an opportunity versus something that hurt me. But the community suffered, and the whole country suffered. And I want to make sure, especially right now where we're at, this point in time, everybody feels like the mask mandates are gone for the most part. The vaccine passports are gone for the most part. There are a lot of places that still are requiring it, but let us never forget that,
Right.
and also introduce legislation that prevents that from ever happening again.
So when you look at the 44th, tell us a little bit about the 44th district.
Sure.
From my familiarity to it, it's basically down Gulf Road, and you're splitting up Hoffman Estates and Streamwood, but surely there's people that have no idea where the 44th is.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of ignorance when it comes to politics in general. And then when it comes to the new redistricting that occurred recently. So the 44th district mainly encompasses, I would say, most of Hoffman Estates, if not all of it. I think there may be a small piece that's not incorporated into it. But Hoffman Estates, there's a small portion of Schaumburg, all of Streamwood, and then all of Hanover Park. So that's the boundaries in terms of roads are, let's say, Barrington Road, Schaumburg Road, and probably 90 on that end. So it's kind of an odd shape, but that's how they recently redistricted it. And it's about 100, I think it's about 100,000 people total in that district.
I see. As you've now decided that you're going to run, and how did that affect your family, per se? You know, it's not an easy decision,
Sure.
Obviously. Were they supportive? Are they still hesitant? Are you still hesitant?
No, absolutely. So life is about risks, right? And
Right.
Starting your own business is a huge risk. And I'm almost 40. I'm 39 years old. And there's no better time than now. And it's kind of like a bucket list for me. I have all these things that I want to do. And running for office is one of those things. And I feel that, it's something that is very beneficial. It's not something that I need to do. It's something that I want to do. And I can help the community, and I can make a difference for the future generations, not only my own children, but everyone's children, in the community and in the state of Illinois. In terms of my family, they support me in really anything that I do at this point. I'm pretty much the breadwinner of the family, and I make sure that I do what's best for them. And obviously, running your own business is very time consuming, but I make sure that I allot that time to my family. And I think that's the only way to really do it, is to get out there and be a good role model for my children, and then, be a good role model for the young generations that are coming up now.
Are your kids in school right now, or?
So I pulled 2 of my kids out of school, so they are homeschooled.
Okay.
And then my daughter is actually in another school district, and she's still in public school.
Okay, I see. So when you look at the 44th district, there's a lot of small business, there's a lot of retail, there's a lot of restaurants, there's a lot of all of that in there. Have you taken, or even just visually seen, changes that have been affected over the last couple of years with your district?
100%. Yeah, the landscape has changed drastically. A lot of places that have gone out of business, a lot of abandoned buildings and abandoned spots in the strip malls. A lot of places just couldn't make it through.
Right.
And now we're at a point, now we're, the shutdowns and everything are in the past. That had its effect. And then they had the vaccine passports, which had their effect. And now we have inflation. And so people are spending less or going out as much because everything is so expensive. And I see it with my own business, because when I price things out, they're like, oh my God. I said, well, I don't know if you've looked around lately, but everything is hyperinflated.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, it was pretty steady, probably 4 to 6% inflation. But now it's just a lot of things have even doubled in cost.
Yeah.
So small businesses are going to hurt even more from that.
Yeah, even like gasoline, you look at gasoline, it wasn't that long ago, we're paying $1.80 or less.
Yeah.
And now it's $4.50. And, depending, if you go to the city, it's over 5, gets pushing 6 now.
People don't want to drive.
No.
They don't want to go out and drive somewhere because that gas cost. And then when you get to that location, you don't want to spend as much money. So
Yeah. So you're stuck with that right now for the time being. So as we progress going forward, and say you're elected, what are some of the things that maybe you want to focus on, or special interests, or something that's really near and dear to your heart?
So my main focus is a couple things. So the children are the number one thing. We need to protect the kids, especially with the way that the school system operates now. First of all, it never has, at least in my lifetime, prepared a child for an independent, successful, flourishing life. It seems that they prepare people for a kind of job or employment as just an employee, not as a business owner, not as an entrepreneur, to reach for the stars. It's kind of like go through this process, get some of these skills to be a good employee. And I really think that's the wrong way to do it. The American dream is to really own your own business, to have your own, what you've created from hard work and discipline. And so that's a starting point, right? So the curriculum, to be able to modify that, so to take out all the stuff that's not really useful anymore, that maybe it was 50 years ago, that has no relevance in an adult's life right now.
Right.
Get rid of all, trim the fat basically, interject things that actually are beneficial, like how to do your taxes, basic stuff like that, that not a lot of adults even know how to do.
Right.
So that's where you start. That's the foundational. And then with a lot of the CRT, the critical race theory stuff, that's interjected into the curriculum. A lot of the unethical, I would say, material that's interjected into the library system within the schools and the local libraries a lot of the time. And then you have a lot of the masking, and thankfully we didn't get to the point of the vaccine passports for schools, but I saw it going that direction for
Right.
sure. And then preventing anything like that from ever happening again, like the forced quarantine of children, forcing kids to wear masks. It was causing a lot of physical and psychological issues with kids. I mean, we see all the way up to high school ages now. The suicide rate is unbelievable.
It's 300% increase.
And that's really due to public policy. And that, I think a lot of people are taking their eye off the ball and saying that's in the past, but it could easily creep up on us again unless we put legislation in place to prevent it.
Yes, I agree. As far as your campaign's concerned, obviously this is the first time you ran.
Mm-hmm.
You want to reach as many people as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any message you want to give to some of your constituents out there?
So my main message is we need to get Illinois back on track to what it used to be many years ago. So thinking of when my family moved here many years ago, this was the land of opportunity. Mm-hmm. People moved to the Chicagoland area because of all the jobs and the commerce, and you were able to bring your family here and make a really good living, and now we see people leaving instead of wanting to come here, and it seems like we're almost forcing people out on purpose. And I really feel that there should be incentives given. I think the state of Florida is actually doing this, incentives for small businesses to open up shop here. Because I talk to a lot of small business owners that have brick and mortar locations, like, I'm moving into Indiana, if they're able to do that, or other nearby states, or even Florida, places that appreciate and want my business to be there and flourish. We don't provide really any incentive or any resources or support. We only provide punishment with fees and taxes and lockdowns.
Regulations.
Further regulations. And the small businesses are the heart of America. I mean, they have to be supported because big corporations, as we saw in the lockdowns, the big corporations were allowed to flourish and make billions of dollars. Meanwhile, the small business in the same parking lot was shut down, during that time and maybe even permanently. So, so small businesses offering incentives and also reducing the tax load on us, because we pay anything that you do especially Cook County, anything that you do, you're taxed on. Services, products, and then you're taxed again, and you keep getting taxed. We could probably eliminate a few of those and reduce spending. There's probably a lot of frivolous spending going on.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a income problem in the state of Illinois.
It's not an income
it's a
problem.
spending issue, obviously.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of corporations that have also split. So you have not even just small business, but even now the bigger companies are saying, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
There's people who were, they look at Illinois and say, where's the benefit? Why am I going to bring employees here? so
Yes.
that they pay these taxes? Come on, why would I do that to them?
Look at all the companies that moved out of California, you know, and they just moved to nearby states all surrounding there. I think Tesla was one of them.
Right.
I mean, that's billions of dollars in tax revenue that we're actually missing out on because places are moving out of the state.
Exactly.
So,
So, Patrick, thank you for coming here today. It's been a pleasure.
thank you, sir.
And good luck with your campaign.
Appreciate it.
And take care.
Thanks. You too.